Hi, I'm Nina Blackwood, and you're watching MTV Music Television all day, all night, all video music.
It takes a long time and a lot of hard work for a band to put it all together. It's a long haul to the top.
It's April 11th, 1984, and on MTV, they are showing one of their late-night programs.
Only 1 in a million gets that big break.
Known as the Basement Tapes, it was one of the channel's shows that aired monthly. The premise was a battle of the bands competition, of which small-time bands would submit music videos to the show for a chance to compete in the semifinals. They were acts that were not signed to a major record label. Amateur acts that want to make it to the big time. The grand prize of winning the program would have them be signed onto EMI, as well as $25,000 in equipment.
It works better if you have better fingers that, you need to get Yamaha fingers.
And it was during this Wednesday night episode of the contest that another batch of musicians compete with one another to become the victor. One of these music videos definitely stood out among the rest. You could even say that this band had really gone to the dogs. It is once again music video time, a series dedicated to all things music videos. And what you are looking at is Dog Police. And they are performing one of their songs, also known as Dog Police. And as you can see, it is glorious. It's a band that has a song about dogs being policemen. Truly, that is a combination one cannot comprehend.
They're dogs!
Today's history lesson is dedicated to one of the most bizarre and equally awesome music video of the 1980s. This is Dog Police and the history of their magnum opus, Dog Police.
I can't really get into trying to explain what you're going to see. I'll just tell you that this basement tape is the only one that I had to bring today on a leash, okay? That sets it up for you. You can just watch it right here. The Dog Police.
So believe it or not, this song has a story which the video follows. Sung in a first-person perspective, it's centered around a guy going on a blind date.
Had a blind date, she was out of sight.
Making it to the club, it seems the date is a dog woman.
She was a chick from a canine thing. Her hair was blue, her teeth were green.
She must have been a blue heeler who just recently ate some grass. The man goes into the bathroom to freshen up, while his date gets hit on by a waiter. Between all of this, the police get called in, and it seems that the blind date has a criminal record.
The boys in blue had my baby on the floor. They were asking her if she wanted some more.
Okay, that's a weird lyric, but what happens next is the absolute best part of the music video.
They pulled out a net, they pulled out a leash. They said they were the
The chorus is without a doubt an earworm. Probably the best type of worm to get when you're a dog, right? Them showing up at this club is a celebration of their arrival. Cheers and applause came down with their presence, like they just solved the crime of the century. Not to mention that the masks are pretty articulate, as their mouths are moving while singing. Pretty nice detail. The police dogs and dog woman leave the club while being photographed and videotaped for the 10 o'clock news on their way out. Though it makes me wonder what the dog woman did.
I guess I should have noticed that box of Bill phones. She sniffed the cups of my stereo phone.
Oh wait, she had a box of bones. She must have been a well-known killer then. Anything else we need to know about her?
Having those puppies was a little insane, but boy, she loved that gravy train.
Wait, she had puppies? Is that the guy's puppies? I thought this was a blind date and he's never seen her before.
Had a blind date, she was out of sight.
This song throws a lot of curveballs. Not something I expected from a song like Dog Police. And that's pretty much it for the song and video. It's a nice novelty about dogs as policemen doing policeman things as dogs. And it should not be as awesome as it ends up being. It's extremely catchy to listen to, and the sheer bizarreness of its concept really sets it apart from any other music video at the time. And I guess even now. Name me another music video like this. I'd want to know. But I do wonder something. In the lyrics itself, it raised an interesting point about the act. Who exactly are the Dog Police? The band, I mean. Surely an act like this with a video that looks to be of higher production value compared to most other independent acts has to be more than just a joke. So, where did the Dog Police come from? The answer...
First basement tape of 1984 came from a Memphis band called Dog Police, which is not just the name of the band and the song, but also the concept behind the whole thing.
In 1979, in the city of Memphis, Tennessee, an act was formed between keyboard and vocalist Tony Thomas, bassist Sam Shoop, and drummer Tom Leonardo. This act would be known as the Tony Thomas Trio. The band traditionally played jazz music and are considered a well-respected act in their local area. They played sets with other jazz musicians from George Coleman to Groove Holmes. They even released an album in 1979 titled LST. Some of the tracks from this album are being played throughout this video, by the way, just to give you an example. Despite the relative popularity they had in the local area, the band wanted to do something besides jazz. Something more... new wave. After they performed the jazz gigs, the trio would spend their downtime playing different genres of music, usually the ones heard from punk and new wave that was gaining popularity at the time. They would unwind and play these songs in their practice space at the local recording studio, Shoe Productions. Late one night, during one of these sessions, they managed to wake up one of the sound engineers from his sleep. Instead of getting angry from being woken up, he actually liked what he was hearing. And what he was hearing was Dog Police. And it was not just the engineer that was impressed by the sound. The studio owners themselves were so impressed by what they were doing, they offered to record the band's next album for free. And what an album it is.
Patricia, fetch me my lawn chair, won't you please?
Under a new moniker, Dog Police released a self-titled album in 1982, with 10 tracks in tow. They went under new names for their characters. Thomas was Clark Radio, Leonardo became Squeak Owens, and Shoop was Random Axe. Don't try to ask me which one's which, it's really hard to tell when they're not playing their instruments.
Are you middle class enough?
Originally, they wanted to call themselves Plastic Pants.
Plastic Pants.
Well, you know, because there's a double entendre. Of course, people were wearing lots of airplane pants and crazy plasticized outfits in the 80s. That was a big trend fashion-wise, but of course, plastic pants also refers to people of my age now for various reasons.
But that thankfully got shot down. Contrasting their jazz sound, the trio focuses more heavily on rock and electronic that gave them a more modern approach. Not only that, but they also had messages from their comedic outputs. I'm Butch, for example, was a positive message and was a shout out to the LGBT community of the 80s.
I'm Bush with a leather jacket. I tried straight life, but I couldn't hack it.
Not something you would hear normally during this time.
The daughter of a preacher. Now I'm a jock at the radio station. You know I'm saving my money for my operation.
Other tracks like 1-800 and Are You Middle Class Enough were made for the commentary on the consumerism of the era. 1-800-1-800-03. Imagine buying this album, wanting to hear more about dogs being policemen, and end up hearing this instead. Definitely not something you expect if you judge it by its cover. I think the reasoning behind Shoe believing in Dog Police had to do with them achieving success with another song about an animal doing people things. In 1976, Memphis DJ Rick D released his single Disco Duck, a novelty song that became a #1 hit on the Billboard Hot 100. More than likely, Shoe expected Dog Police to be the next Disco Duck and allowed the trio to cut an album for free.
Ladies and gentlemen, rock and roll.
With the rise of MTV and music videos becoming a standard to promote songs, a music video for Dog Police was made. Directed by Joe Moran and Shoe Productions co-founder Wayne Cook, the video was shot during the dog days of summer of '83. During filming, the air conditioning had to be turned off due to the smoke they used in the club not being flowing right. And with the Dog Police members wearing both dog masks and trench coats for 18 hours at a time, it very much left them warm under the collar. The record label had a lot of faith in Dog Police doing well. So much so that this music video was pretty expensive. The record label spent $50,000 to make the video. $50,000 is a lot more money I would be expecting going into what is essentially a novelty act. But at the same time, this did end up being a video with really good production value. Solid makeup effects, for example. Larry McConkey, famed Steadicam operator with well over 100 film credits to his name, including the famous 3-minute long shot in Goodfellas, was the camera operator, resulting in some really great shots. Coupled with good editing and overall fun gimmick, this is a music video that is better than it should be. And it's for a song that's pretty much a joke! The concept of the song came from the idea of calling the dog police to arrest an unattractive woman when you're on a date. A joke that more than likely flew over a lot of people's heads, considering that the woman in the video, you know. Now, before ever becoming the Tony Thomas Trio, the members had day jobs as jingle writers, producing commercial songs both regionally and internationally. One of the most famous jingles being for Little Debbie.
Little Debbie has a snack for you.
Little Debbie has a cake for you. That was one of ours.
Oh, you were the Little Debbie guys. That's terrific.
Yes, yes.
So they definitely knew how to write a hook. That being said, it turns out that the chorus was actually in the tune of the Spider-Man theme. Now, when you think of the Spider-Man theme song, you might be thinking of the one everybody knows.
Spider-Man, Spider-Man, does whatever a spider can.
But that is not the right theme song. Specifically, it was from the Spidey Super Story skits from the Electric Company. And let me tell you, when you compare the two songs,
Spider-Man, where are you coming from, Spider-Man? Nobody knows who you are.
it's clear that Tony Thomas and company took a lot from Spidey.
Spider-Man!
Back to MTV's Basement Tapes. With a music video this creative and original, it's no surprise that Dog Police ended up winning the semifinals. With their win, they received $5,000 and a chance to compete in the finals against the other 5 winners. And with a background in making famous jingles for snack cakes and years of experience in their resumes, least we forget them having a really neat music video. It had to have been a runaway success for Dog Police to win the show, right?
All right, tonight's winners. From Antioch, California, Track. Congratulations. These guys are dancing. No more Spanky's Pizzeria for these guys on Saturday nights. We're talking major, major action.
Something happened the other day.
Yep, they lost to a group of brothers, with the lead singer being 13 years old at the time. They didn't even place second in the fan votes. They tied for 4th place with 13% of the vote, compared to Track's getting 29%. But did anyone expect Dog Police to win? Let's think about this for a second. Dog Police, the song, is a gimmick, and you might be thinking you would be voting for an act that would just make songs in the perspective of a dog police officer and probably make your songs about being dogs and such. I doubt EMI would have been thrilled to sign them on. So while they had lost, they still had some play on MTV. They ended up receiving light rotation on the channel, pretty much meaning at most 2 plays a day. Starting in the week of February 1st, the video ended up being pulled after 3 weeks. It was later shown on the August 17th episode of Night Flight and Weird Al Yankovic's MTV special Al TV in September 3rd, 1984.
Al TV, the music video channel you live to watch and watch to live.
Also worth noting that they made a music video for their other song, 1-800, which ended up appearing on Al TV.
I've got knives that'll last for 50 years and silverware that I can't lose.
And while I do appreciate the consumer satire in the work, I don't think there was ever a chance they were going to be picked up by a major label. And the band was pretty much okay with that. Tom Leonardo, for example, remarked in an interview that it was a blessing in disguise. That being signed would have them travel to another country and them wearing a dog mask. Speaking of performing, when it came to performing as Dog Police, they barely did a live performance. At max 2 or 3 times they did a gig as their alter egos. Reading from a newspaper for one of their performances, only one of the members was wearing a mask during the show. Another time, they didn't even perform, instead having their friends play as the dog police. And with the masks obscuring their faces, no one was the wiser.
Is this the new sound of Memphis?
Without a doubt.
One of their few interviews from the program Night Flight still had them wearing masks, though their mouths aren't moving. You can tell they even thought they were being pigeonholed and only making songs about being dogs, as they keep making dog puns in their interview.
What are your musical influences?
Lassie, Rin Tin Tin, the old dog series of the past.
But if you listen to their album, you know they were more than just this one song.
As to rock songs are the thing of the future.
Radio's rock song. Come down, boy.
Maybe they should have been called Plastic Pants. Now, this should be the end of the story. Dog Police only made one album, of which it was privately distributed by the band before it went out of print. And the three men continued to be the Tony Thomas Trio, leaving their silly act in the 1980s. But then, in a surprise turn of events, NBC offered the act their very own cartoon. This sounds like a great fit for them. Dog Police's song sounds like the opening theme to Itchy and Scratchy. Could have ended up being in the style of McGruff the Crime Dog even. So with this great idea, of course it never materialized. Doesn't appear to have even gotten past the planning process. However...
Dog police, they're writing everyone. Dog police, helping wherever you go.
Yes, your eyes aren't fooling you. What you are seeing is a pilot for Dog Police from 1990. And compared to the 1984 video, they changed a lot about the premise. They even changed the song's lyrics.
Armed with a badge and a net and a leash, they say they are the Dog Police.
More than likely to avoid copyright infringement by the Electric Company and the Web Slinger.
Spider-Man!
While only running 8.5 minutes, it ends up being much weirder than the song itself. For one thing, as the theme song tells us, the Dog Police are not from this planet.
Came from outer space and they're out of sight. If you've ever seen them, you know their might.
That's right, these lawmen are aliens, and apparently have superpowers.
Mia, use your ESP.
We're dividing up the loot in a bus behind the cleaners.
Let's go get them.
Another change was having one of the dogs being female. While that in of itself isn't weird, what is weird is that she and the lead dog are divorced and share joint custody of their child.
Mia and I share custody of our son, Spooker Luker Lee.
This thing! What a very odd decision. As for the plot of the pilot, it doesn't actually have one. Just sets up who these characters are before they go on patrol and then it ends. It's only 8.5 minutes, so I don't think they really had much to work with. It's more like a proof of concept rather than a proper pilot. What's interesting is that we have future celebrities in said pilot. Jeremy Piven, for example, is one of the police officers.
You see, they thought it would last forever, right? But then they realized it was only puppy love.
Fuck!
But more importantly, we have a pre-Saturday Night Live Adam Sandler as a local criminal.
I think I don't appreciate you talking to the judge for me, huh? I owe you my life. And you owe me $127. I'll take a check.
You'll take a walk.
I'll take a walk. I'll take a walk.
It's so funny that this is what Sandler was doing before making it big. There would have been a chance he would have had a career in Dog Police.
You've been spayed. What was that like?
But that being said, this pilot is awful. It's not funny.
It's 2:15. Code 7 in the Van Nuys area. We got a 7-11 in progress. The 2:11 in progress.
The makeup and the mask look worse than the music video.
Welcome to the real world. Now move your tail.
Aw, doggone it, sir.
This is a ridiculous idea for a TV show for an already ridiculous premise. Needless to say, this is a pretty terrible pilot, which members of Dog Police would agree with. And thankfully, it never got picked up.
They say every dog has its day. Ours is Saturday. Come join us for action and adventure as we sniff out crime and maybe a laugh or two.
And you're canceled. Strike the set. You have 5 minutes to get off the lot.
And with that, the sleeping dogs lied for Dog Police for decades. But while dormant, it wasn't forgotten. While the music video ended up on YouTube in the late 2000s, by the 2010s, it appears to be gaining some traction and popularity. Every now and then, there was an article written about the absurdity of the video, or a Reddit post would be upvoted enough to elicit responses of bewilderment of what they had just witnessed. It's frankly amusing to see first-time viewers watch this decades-old music video and be amazed by what they saw.
Did we not talk about Dog Police? How's that possible?
Dog police, dog police, nobody knows where you are. Ruff, 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 ruff. No?
There is absolute love for this song, and the album in general, as the Dog Police LP was re-released in 2019 by Toxic Toast Records, with a limited release of 500 vinyl records, which I managed to get a copy of for this video. If you're still able to, I recommend snagging one of these vinyls, or at least find a way to listen to it online. It is generally a fun album to listen to. So where are the Dog Police? Well, as stated before, the three men are still making music as the Tony Thomas Trio, even releasing a second album in 2010. Outside of that, the three have taken different directions in music. Sam Shupp, for example, has been orchestrating and making arrangements for the National Symphony Orchestra. Tom Leonardo has still continued to play the drums with 50 plus years of experience under his belt. And Tony Thomas himself has made tracks with acts like Joe Walsh to U2. Overall, they seem to be doing well in their respective paths, and I hope they continue on.
Next time you're out with a real strange beast, make sure she's not wanted by the...
So to conclude, I will leave this video on a quote by Tom Leonardo about the music video. When we made the video, people said, "You'll have to live with this for the rest of your life." And they were right. It's such a fun music video to watch that I expect it to live on for years to come. Maybe as a beloved meme on the internet. But until that happens, thanks for your time.